Thank you very much. This is Teacher Elias Ochero. Welcome, by the way. This is People and Population Grade 9 Social Studies. And under it, I want us to look at the scientific theory about human origin. I want to take you back to the other grades in grade 4, in grade 5, and even in grade 6, together with grade 7. You are taught the same thing, except in grade 7 and in grade 4, 5, and 6, you are still taught people in population. But under those grades, in those grades, actually, you are taught about language groups. Yeah, you are taught about language groups. In grade 4, you define language groups. In grade 5, you went ahead and looked at those language groups. And you even actually divided the communities in Kenya, the major language groups in Kenya, that is, and so on and so forth. So what we are actually doing, we are learning from simple to complex, from known to unknown, what you already know to what you don't know. Now, in this particular grade, that is in grade 7, which is in junior school, you started looking at theories that you looked actually at the theories that explain the origin of man. You looked at the theories that explain the origin of man. And just to take you back, you should know what a theory is, and you should actually remember those theories because you are building from that content and the same thing that you are taught. Remember, I've said from simple to complex, from known to unknown. So now the first thing I want us to start with, I want us to define a theory. What is a theory? Can you remember what you said a theory is? If not so, let's proceed. A theory is an opinion or a set of ideas that tries to explain why something happens or exists. Let me repeat that a theory is an opinion or a set of ideas that tries to explain why something happens or exists. So that is what a theory is. So in short, these theories are trying to explain. What are we trying to explain? We are trying to find out the origin of man. We are trying to find out why man existed. And in grade 7, you are taught about 3 theories. The first theory is called, learn with me, let's go. The first theory that you are taught is called a biblical theory, also known as religious theory. The second theory is known as mythical theory, and the second theory, and the third theory, which is the last theory that also explains the origin of man, is called evolution theory, also known as scientific theory. Now, do you remember what these theories are explaining or what they say about the origin of man? Let's get started with biblical theory, which is also called religious theory. Now, what does biblical theory say? Biblical theory states that there was a supreme being, and this supreme being, according to different religions, this supreme being, for example, among the Christians, is called God. This supreme being among the Christians is called God, and God created the first human beings and placed them in the Garden of Eden. These first human beings were Adam and Eve. After creating them, he placed them in the Garden of Eden, where he told them to do what? To cultivate it and to multiply, to till, cultivate it, to multiply and fill the earth. So they multiplied and filled the earth. That is the biblical or religious theory. Then the second theory is called mythical theory. You all know what a myth is. Just to remind you, we can say that a myth is a common belief. It is a common belief that may not be true among different communities. For example, in our country, Kenya, there is a community that believes that their first parents came from a swollen knee that burst. Then 2 people, male and female, came from the knee that burst. That knee, actually, it was a swollen knee. It burst. Then 2 parents, 2 people, that is, came, and from those, the people were a man and a woman who got married. They got married, and they are their present parents, like those are their ancestors. Then from there, they multiplied, and due to that multiplication, that is why you have very many people now according to that community. So each and every community, not only in Kenya but also in Africa, many communities in Africa are trying to explain. They have their own myths that explain the origin of their people. Then the second theory that we will be relying on is known as evolution, which is also known as scientific theory. You'll say it is evolution or scientific theory. Now, what you need to understand about this, actually this scientific theory, you should be able to know that the theory argues that all living organisms, but before I get to that point, you should also be able to know that the scientific theory was developed by who developed the scientific theory. You also call him the father of evolution. Good, you got it right. That person is known as Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin is the person. Charles Darwin is the person who developed scientific theory. He's the person who developed the scientific theory. Then, what is evolution? If someone asks you what is evolution, you'll say that evolution is the gradual change of human beings, from ape-like creatures to the present complex human beings. It says that it's the gradual change of humans from ape-like creatures to the present complex human beings. Now, what is so special about this theory, which I'm calling the scientific theory? The scientific theory argues that all living organisms underwent a process of change over millions of years by evolving from simple forms to complex forms. It is different because it argues that all organisms, not only human beings now, but even animals and any other living thing, underwent process of change over millions of years by evolving from simple forms to complex forms. Now, it is based on the study of remains of past forms of life. It is based on the study of remains of past forms of life. Now, evolution happened through the following processes. If someone asks you to name 3 processes through which evolution happened, you will say the first process is known as mutation, the second process is known as natural selection, then the third process is known as adaptation. Now I want us to go to the first process, which is called mutation. What does it say, or rather what is it? Human organisms went through changes in their genes and the behavior of their bodies. They went through changes in their genes and the behavior of their bodies. That is mutation. The natural selection, in short, mutation, we are saying that if there was any body part that was actually not necessarily needed, that body part naturally just dropped because it was no longer needed. If you are not using something, definitely it will go away. That is according to mutation. Then you have the second thing, natural selection. What is natural selection? After mutation, only the strongest or fittest organisms did what? Survived. It says that after mutation, only the strongest or fittest organisms survive. The organisms that were able to survive in a particular environment, those are the ones that did what? Survive. If we had a weak organism and was not fit to live at that particular time, definitely such organisms disappeared. In short, they became extinct. Then you have the third process, which is called adaptation. After surviving mutation and natural selection, the organisms adapted to their new environment. That is why we say that the present human being, who is me and you now, we can survive in any place in the world because we have gone through mutation and other processes. Then there's something that I was about to forget. You should also be able to know what fossils are, then what fossil records are. Now, fossils are the preserved remains of animals and plants that lived long ago. What are fossils? Fossils are the preserved remains of animals and plants that lived long ago. They are mostly found buried beneath the earth's surface. They are mostly found buried beneath the earth's surface. Now, what are fossil records? You'll say that fossil records refer to the total number of fossils that have been discovered as well as the information obtained from them. Fossil records refer to the total number of fossils that have been discovered as well as the information obtained from them. Now, why are we studying fossils? We want to know that where did this man, like, in short, we are looking at the remains of organisms that lived long time ago, like 30 million years ago. So those are the things that are found and picked there are preserved, and they are the ones I'm calling fossils. Then records, they refer to the total number of fossils that have been discovered as well as the information obtained from them. Now, using different methods, fossils collected from different places can be studied, and that data should be stored using different methods. Fossils collected from different places can be studied, and those particular that information is done what is dated, it is indicated somewhere. So that is all about fossil records. Then again, after the fossil records, after knowing fossil records, now these fossils are very important to us, because it is through studying these remains of these human beings that existed long time ago that we are able to do what? To find evidence where a particular human being was found. From the study of fossils, we will be able to pick and actually say that this particular human being lived between this year and this year. So I want us to next look at the importance of fossil records of human evolution in Africa. The importance of fossil records of human evolution in Africa. By the end of this importance of fossils, you will be able to understand why are we only interested in looking at the importance of fossil records of human evolution in Africa and not any other continent. So the first importance is that it provides, these fossil records provide past evidence. It provides past evidence on how plants and animals adapted to their environment. Then number two, it helps to establish evolutionary relationship between organisms and their ancestors. For example, if there was maybe a fossil that was discovered in a particular country at a particular time, and then another one discovered in a particular country at a particular time, and if the archaeologists find that they are almost similar, or they are actually similar, they'll be able to say and conclude that this particular organism and this, somehow they are related, or this one is an ancestor of the other one, depending on the time or the time difference. Then number three, it helps to establish time period in which organisms lived. Fossil records helps to establish time period in which organisms lived. So if you find a fossil, for example, and then the record taken and everything after that study, you'll be able to say that this particular human being or this particular organism lived in this, from this time to this, from this year to this year, or it lived between this period. Then the fifth one, fossil records helps us to understand the social, political, and economic life of man over the years. Social, for example, did they used to meet? Maybe was there any organization, for example, family? Did they have a leader? Then that is how they used to interact, was their clan and all those ones. Then political, how they used to organize themselves. Did they have a leader, or what was happening? Then their economic life, was there some form of trade? Was there some exchange of items from whoever produced them to whoever did not produce some, and vice versa? Then number 4, it helps archaeologists and other natural scientists to place important events and species in the appropriate historical geographical area. I'll later, before the end of this presentation, I'll tell you what a species is. Then number six, which you have to look at, you could also be able to say number 6, it also be able to say, which summarizes this, that it not necessarily summarizing, but third or second last, it gives us information on the culture of humans, clothing, food, and beliefs in the past. So from these records, from these fossil records, you'll be able to find out the other human beings or the early man, what was his way of life? Was he putting on clothes? The type of food or the food that he used to eat? What was his belief? For example, there's a community somewhere that actually used to do what? Used to bury someone using all his belongings. And later on, they discovered, believing that this person, they actually believed in life after death. That is why they buried this person together with his belongings, everything, including his servants, believing that this person, wherever he's going to live there. That person is going to live there. So there is life after death. Then the seventh one, fossil records gives us information on the economic activities of man, such as the animals they hunted, crops they cultivated, fishing, among others. So through these fossils, we are able to tell that there were some economic activities that were going on long time ago, that the early man did some economic activities, which included hunting, cultivation of crops, and also fishing. Because these fossils, some of them, these archaeologists actually discovered some maybe tools that those people used to use actually. Then the second last importance of fossil records, we say that it gives us information on the type and uses of tools and other materials used by humans in farming, hunting, war, or even religious activities over the years. It gives us information on the type and uses of tools and other materials used by humans in farming, hunting, war, or even religious activities. I think not necessarily thinking, but in our next strand and other strands to follow, we'll also be able to look at the tools that these human beings used, the type of animals that they used to hunt, and the ones that they domesticated, for example, a dog. Then the last very important importance of fossil records of human evolution in Africa is that they provide evidence of Africa being the cradle of humanity. That they provide evidence of Africa being the cradle of humanity. Someone will ask you, why is it that we are saying that Africa is the cradle home of human beings or of humankind? The answer will simply be that most archaeological sites are actually found in Africa. Most of these sites are found in Africa. In short, I'm saying that most remains of most of these fossils were discovered in Africa than in any other place. Now, it is believed that from Africa, that is where the first human beings were discovered. It is believed that it's from there that they went to other parts of the world. I mean, to other continents of the world. Now, before I summarize, there are sometimes the terms that I have mentioned and I need to actually clarify them. The first one is species. What is a species? A species is a class of plants or animals whose members have the same characteristics and are able to breed with each other. Animals that are of the same kind and are able to breed with each other. They are able to give a live young one, to breed with each other, live young one, or even laying eggs of the same kind. For example, just to give you a rough example, let's say a cow and a goat are not of the same kind. A cow and a goat are not of the same kind, but to mean then that they cannot breed. So for a cow to breed, it must breed with another cow, and for a goat to breed, it must breed with another cow. Someone will say that there are some animals that are not of the same kind, but they breed. Remember, the breeding I'm talking about, these animals, when they breed, they give birth to the same kind. I know of animals that can breed, yes, but they'll give birth to none of the either parent. Then you have archaeologist. An archaeologist or archaeologist is a person who studies human history and prehistory through excavation of sites and the analysis of artifacts and other physical remains. I repeat, a person who studies human history and prehistory through excavation. Archaeologist is a person who studies human history and prehistory through excavation of sites and the analysis of artifacts and other physical remains. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you are learning, you've taken some notes. Thank you for watching this. Continue subscribing to this YouTube channel so that whenever I drop another strand or another video, you'll be the first one to be notified, and you'll also learn. Take care of yourself. Don't do something that you'll not be proud to tell me, or to tell. Don't do anything that you'll not be proud to tell your guardian or even to tell me. Take care of yourself. See you in my next video. Thank you again. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe. Talk to me. Give me a suggestion, and if you have a question, a clarification, reach me through my contact in the screen. And have a nice time until we meet again.